the function bar, and you can start writing a function. And what it'll do is it'll carry out that function and display the results in J3. And let's format this cell real quick so that we are sure that you can read it as we work. There, alright. J3 is going to be bigger than the rest. Alright, anyway. So in J3, in the function bar, we could put 1 plus 1. Actually, here. Your functions have to start with the equal sign. And then you got the name of the function. Sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Alright. So in J3, we put equals, because this cell will equal the result of, and then sum. We're telling this application to sum whatever is in the parentheses. The word sum is a keyword. It is a function, and the function expects you to give it data to compute, and that will be given in the parentheses and between the opening and closing parentheses that comes after the function's name. So here you say J3, you select J3, and you will say it equals the sum of, and then in parentheses, 1 plus 1. And as you can see, after hitting enter, there you have 2 displayed in that cell. Well, this is static data. It's not dynamic, so that's not really all that hard to do. But another thing you can do is use dynamic data. For example, we could say sum and then put our cursor in between these parentheses and then select D2 and then put our cursor after D2 and then put a colon, which is the shift and then 2 keys left from the enter, and that'll be the colon, not the semicolon. Or no, I'm sorry, colons are used for ranges, I believe. D2 semicolon, and then what do we got? G4. Alright, and that should be correct. Like I said, I don't use this stuff. I just know how to use it a little bit. And hit enter. Alright, so it sums D2 and G4, and this is the result. Now, if you wanted it to do the difference, if you wanted to subtract, you would still use the sum, and then you would just say D2 and then take out that semicolon and replace it with the minus sign. D2 minus G4, and as you see, it subtracts G4 from D2 and displays the result here. Now, there's another way to go about this. If you don't know how to, if you're not that familiar with this, you can click this little icon right here, this little function wizard, and it'll open up a little thing. It's kind of a point and click way of doing the same thing. Before you do that, make sure you have the correct cell highlighted. For example, we want it in I5, so click I5, click your function wizard, and then you have the option of, first you need to know what category of function you're going to be using. You can say all to display all categories of all functions, which is, as you see, a very, very long list, or you can limit it to mathematical, date and time, database, financial. But we're going to choose mathematical to keep our list rather short. Then we're going to choose sum, and here it'll show you the parameters expected for this function. A parameter is just the data that you have to give the function to operate on. So it'll say sum and then number 1 semicolon number 2, and then you can add more than just 2 numbers. You just separate them each with a semicolon. Now, so right here we will put, since we're doing this by hand, you know what, this is a little bit different than what I usually see. Here we go. Alright, so we know, starting over, we know that our function we want is a mathematical function, and then we're going to be using the sum function because the sum is the result of addition or subtraction. Here it is. Alright, click next, And then you can give it the arguments here, which is data. Data is synonymous with arguments, especially if you're a programmer. Anyway, the first number we're going to be giving it to sum would be D2, column D, row 2. So you'll type D2. And then the second number will be I5. And then as you can see, it says error. That can't be right. There we go. Alright, so D2 and I5. Oh, let's put extra semicolons in there. That's what's going on. Alright, there we go. So right in here in this little box, you should only see the equal sign, because that the contents of this cell will equal, so you should always see that equal sign. It will equal the sum of cell D2 and cell I5. It will take the data from cell D2 and I5 and add it together and display it in this box. You select OK. And I must have done something genius. Oh, I5 is the cell I'm in. That's why it's not working. That's what happens when you go without sleep. Alright, change I5 right here to, what was it, G4. And then select OK. And here you have the result. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you. Alright. So, anytime this, and now the thing is, in a way, you're still dealing with static data, but the thing is, you could change this data at any time without having to write this function right here, this function that will be calculated in this box. You don't have to rewrite that every time. You can actually go to the anytime this data is updated. For example, let's put 1158 and hit enter. Well, you see these two cells just got updated because there's functions in them to calculate this against this. So if we update this to be 215, it changes the resulting data here because there's functions to calculate this and this. Alright, so that's the basics of it. Now, a common use for this is, there we go, with like timesheets, for example. So let's make us a little grid real quick. We'll put days here. Monday, hit down. Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't think the is a day of the week. And I just typed it again. You can tell I've been without sleep for a little while. Friday. And we'll go ahead and add Saturday in there. Alright, these are days of the week. We're going to highlight all of these and change the font size so that they're easier to read. Alright. And here we're going to put start, the time we started that day, end, obviously the time we stopped that day, hours, and or pay rate's usually a fixed thing, so we could just put I don't know what you want to call it, money to pay. We'll just call it pay. Alright, highlight these 4 cells and adjust the font size so you can read them. Alright, and then you can actually merge cells like you did in the word processor. So start with here, and we'll go here, click on merge cells, and then in here we're going to make this a big font size so we can read it. 20-point font. We're going to make it bold, and we're going to put work week from August 21st to August 28th. Then here